Hello and welcome to Amigos 21st Century IAS. I am Adnan. In today's segment, we will be discussing Jallikattu in the backdrop of Supreme Court judgment which had validated the laws passed by the governments of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Karnataka governments regarding the bull taming sports and the bullock cart races in their respective states. So this topic will be very helpful in GS1 because it is related with the cultural heritage of a particular state and society as well, and in GS2 with regards to the polity, governance, constitutional principles, and also a case study could be asked in General Studies paper for ethics as well. And not only that, we will be discussing about certain acts and certain organizations and some constitutional provisions which could be again asked in preliminary exam as well. So this topic is very important. So I will be also driving you through the timeline of the entire banning of Jallikattu till the recent Supreme Court judgments. So let us start with this. So I have added this picture so as to already most of you must be knowing this sport. It's a bull which is being tamed by this participant by holding this hump of the bull. That means he is trying to tame the bull here. So many states in India have their cultural practices. Some of them involve the using of animals as a part of their heritage. So what is the origin of this Jallikattu we have to understand. So the evidence of using bulls for taming can be seen even in the seals from the Mohenjo-daro. That means 2500 years ago itself we are finding some evidences of bull taming sports. And not just that, this particular sport is also mentioned in Silapadikaram, one of the great Tamil epics of the Sangam age, the ancient Tamil Nadu history. That is one aspect here, and the earlier name which was used for Jallikattu was Eru Taluvutal or Manju Viratu, hopefully I pronounced it right, and the word Jallikattu's origin is coming actually from Salli and Kattu. So Salli here means coins and Kattu is like a bag in which you put those coins with a particular string, and then you put those bag of coins to the hump of the bull and the bull will be raging. So you have to hold on tightly to those bag of coins for example 7 seconds, and then the bag of coins will be yours. You are going to be the victor. That is the origin of this particular sport, Jallikattu. So it is a variant we can say, or some kind of derivation of the word Jallikattu, and when it is held usually in the time of harvesting season in January in the festival called Pongal. Usually the 4-day harvest festival is there. In the 3rd day, that is called Mattu Pongal, on that day this bull taming sport Jallikattu is held in Tamil Nadu. Fine. And what are the breeds of the bulls which are used in this particular sport are Kangayam, Pulikulam, Umbalachari, Bargur and Malai Madu are these native cattle breeds which are reared by the people in order to make them participate in this Jallikattu celebratory festival. Basically this festival is organized to honor those farmers or the rearers of this particular cattle for their great work in saving these particular native or indigenous cattle. That is one argument we can say here. And in this particular race what also happens is there are huge public gathering around this particular fair, and the bulls are released from the arch, and now competition goes like this. Any youngster or any person who is participant who is able to tame the bull by holding on to its flanks for about 7 seconds is held as victor in this particular competition. That is basically what is Jallikattu. So after that introduction, then we will go to what actually happened in this particular case. So entire timeline is mentioned here. I will be taking up each segment as it happens. There have been concerns about Jallikattu since long. There are organizations in India, for example, from the provisions of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, we have established Animal Welfare Board of India, which is responsible for taking care of the animal rights and making sure that there is no cruelty against animals. And not only that, we have several NGOs, non-profit organizations like People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA as we've famously know it as. So many such organizations, including the government organizations, have been criticizing this particular sport because it involves, as per them, violation of the rights of the animals, using them for the entertainment purposes, and many times the arguments are that these bulls are mistreated, maltreated, Many times chemicals or chili powder is thrown into their eyes, and sometimes they are poked with some sharp spikes, and they are made as much mad as they can so as to make the competition tough. That means animal cruelty has become an important component of Jallikattu, is the argument mentioned by some of the organizations, and they were fighting a lot in the courts as well to make it get banned. So what happens here is, in 2006, Madras High Court, a judge puts a ban on the sport Jallikattu, and then immediately an appeal is filed in the division bench. The division bench reverses this Madras High Court ban and permits the Jallikattu to happen with some care to be taken so as not to inflict any kind of suffering to the animal. That is this 2006 timeline. Then what happens? Tamil Nadu government or Tamil Nadu Assembly brings a regulation of Jallikattu Act. That means Jallikattu has got statutory status here. That means how to perform Jallikattu without facing any legal hurdles. Tamil Nadu Assembly passes a bill, Tamil Nadu Regulation Jallikattu Act in 2009. Then what happens here? UPA government comes to power, obviously 2008, and 2011 what happens is, central government includes bulls in the list of animals whose training and exhibition is prohibited. That means central government passes a notification saying that you cannot use bulls as performing animals or for the exhibitions. That means in Jallikattu they are being used for performance. Now they cannot be allowed to do that. That means 2009 regulation of Jallikattu Act will not be helpful, because central government laws will override the state government's laws. That is the point here. Then what happens here? Still, people will still start trying to protest against this particular provision, and some areas they will conduct Jallikattu operation, the sport as well. And then what happens? Some petitioners will again approach the Supreme Court here. So when they approach Supreme Court here in 2014, in this particular very important landmark case of India, which actually gave importance to animal rights over tradition and culture, a two-judge bench, a division bench, Animal Welfare Board of India versus A. Nagaraja and others. Very important case. This case, Supreme Court has banned bull taming and bull racing sports, including Jallikattu, whether it is from Karnataka's Kambala or bullock cart race in Maharashtra or Jallikattu. Bulls cannot be used in this kind of sports. Supreme Court has upheld. Then what happens? Protests will happen. Okay, 2016, Jallikattu will not happen for many years. And 2016, when the new NDA government comes, what they will do is, because Tamil Nadu Assembly elections also are coming closer, some political calculations also are there, central government will revoke the 2011 notification. And what happens? That means the 2011 notification has banned the use of bulls. That means Jallikattu is effectively banned, we can say. 14 Supreme Court verdict also effectively places a ban on Jallikattu. To reverse that, central government passes an order in 2016 saying that you can use bulls as, if it's a part of your cultural heritage. Of course, you cannot use bulls as performing animals, but if it is a part of your cultural heritage exception, you can use the bulls. That means Jallikattu can be practiced. So hopefully you are observing the timeline here. Then what happens? In 2016, when this happens, Jallikattu will resume. Again, the petitioners will approach the Supreme Court that, sir, the notification was passed here, and Nagaraj case, you have already mentioned that you cannot use bulls as performing animals, but your order is now being reversed by the central government, and they are using these bulls for performing animals. That is the question here. Then the Supreme Court was about to give the verdict at that time, and 2017 we are seeing lots of protests going on in Tamil Nadu. It became a matter of the Tamil pride that unnecessary interference in happening in the cultural practices of Tamil Nadu. Thousands and lakhs of youngsters also gather across the state. The Marina Beach became the symbol of protest, but across the state of Tamil Nadu, we see protests happening on the issue of Tamil pride, and this becomes very charged atmosphere happens. At that time, Tamil Nadu government, what it does before Supreme Court gives its verdict, they will pass amendments to the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. See here, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, Tamil Nadu Amendment, and Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Conduct of Jallikattu Rules 2017. A simple point here. who can make laws on this prevention of cruelty to animals means it falls in entry 17 of concurrent list. Concurrent list means both union and the states can make laws on the items mentioned in concurrent list. Now, if at all there is any conflict between the law of the union and the state, whose law should prevail? It is the union's law should prevail, which is what Article 254 talks about, that is doctrine of repugnancy. I repeat, if any state law is repugnant to the law passed by the union, then the union's law will prevail over the state's law. Article 254 clause 1 says. But Article 254 clause 2 says, the state government has the option of bypassing the union law provided they get the assent of the president. That means if central government's law, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act as amended by Centre, will not allow bulls as performing animals, what the state can do is they can make some state specific amendment because it's concurrent list. States also can change PCA Act 1960 and they brought some state specific amendment and they also brought some regulations of that particular sport by amending the PCA Act in 2017. So that is very important for us to understand in this current issue. That means Tamil Nadu government managed to get the assent of the president. 254 clause 2 says if you get presidential assent, then state's law will prevail over the union's law. That means effectively Jallikattu has been made legal in Tamil Nadu by 2017 amendment to the PCA Act. Now that was questioned by several organizations like Animal Welfare Board of India, PETA. They approached Supreme Court and Supreme Court has told that a 5-judge bench, a constitution bench is going to hear this case. Last year in December, finally the argument was heard and Supreme Court reserved its order, and a few days ago Supreme Court finally gave its order in this matter and it has upheld these amendments which were passed in 2017 by Tamil Nadu government. Not only Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, bullock cart race, Karnataka, Kambala, the buffalo race. You must have seen the film Kantara, in which the introduction scene of Rishabh is shown, in which he is taming a buffalo passing through the slushy paddy fields. That is the Kambala sport, traditional sport of Karnataka. So those three governments, that means Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, passed amendments to PCA allowing their traditional sports to happen, and Supreme Court has upheld the validity of those. So very important to understand this particular point. Fine. So this is the basic timeline of this particular case. So you can see it's like going back and forth, back and forth. Even now also what Supreme Court has held, Supreme Court has held that we appreciate or we acknowledge the wisdom of the state legislatures to identify that those particular sports are a part of their cultural heritage. In Nagaraj case, Animal Welfare Board of India case, Supreme Court has rejected the argument that Jallikattu is a part of the cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu and you cannot say that it's a part of your culture, so we will allow the animal to be used. That is what the Supreme Court has held. Now Supreme Court has disagreed with its own verdict in 2014 case, and Supreme Court held that it is not our job as a court to talk about the cultural aspect of any particular state. We leave it to the wisdom of the concerned state legislature to decide whether a particular sport is a part of their culture or not. That means the court has left the issue of identifying the cultural heritage to the states. Hopefully it is clear. That is what is the summary of the verdict. So in this particular aspect, what are the constitutional provisions? First thing, already I explained to you that prevention of cruelty to animals, protection of wild animals and birds will fall under the entry 17 of the concurrent list. That means both center and state can make the laws. What if there is a conflict here? So 254 article we have to understand here, which talks about doctrine of repugnancy. I just now explained to you. So in case the state law conflicts with the central law, states can approach the president and take their assent, then state's law will be approved. That is what happened in this case as well. Then what happens is Article 29 talks about the cultural educational rights, right? So Article 29 clause 1 says for any section of citizens residing in territory of India who have distinct language, script and culture shall have the right to conserve the same. So Tamil Nadu government arguments are that what? It's a part of our cultural heritage that Jallikattu has to be allowed. We have references, thousands of years of history, talking about Jallikattu as a part of our tradition. So clash is between modernity, tradition, or we can say animal cruelty and tradition and culture. So is animal cruelty is clashing with the tradition and culture part, but Tamil Nadu government has said that our 2017 amendments have brought so many protections, so many regulations we have done. Supreme Court got satisfied. Supreme Court has held that yes, animal cruelty is a part of the argument here, but 2017 Tamil Nadu judgment, the laws, the amendments to the PCA has almost given assurance in their amendments that we have brought some stringent regulations so as to safeguard the lives of the animal as well as people, because in the past we used to see from 2008 to 2014 more than 40 people died in this particular race. But now Tamil Nadu amendment to this act has effectively brought some regulations saying that we are now going to conduct this particular sport in a very regulated manner so as to avoid any kinds of unnecessary pain and suffering to both animal as well as the humans. And Supreme Court has upheld that argument of 2017. So that is the reason why Supreme Court has effectively gave the chance to the state governments to decide whether a particular sport is their cultural heritage or not. So that's summary of this. And then what happens? Article 51A subclause G, it is a fundamental duty that we have to improve. Citizens should improve and protect natural environment and have compassion for all living creatures. It is the duty of everyone to have compassion for the living creatures and not inflict unnecessary pain and suffering on the animals. It's a duty of the citizens here. Then we have to read it with H also. Scientific temperament also has to be there to understand what to treat the animals humanely and not to, it means it sometimes come in conflict with the cultural practice also, because what is culture, what is superstition, there is a very thin line here. So, but all these are linked with the topic of Jallikattu, depending on where you want to apply, on behalf of the petitioners who want it to be banned or on the people who want to uphold Jallikattu, you can use these articles liberally, fine. And then comes article 48, which tells state to organize animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines. That means the argument by the Tamil Nadu government and the other governments was, if we don't allow Jallikattu to happen, the native breeds will be lost, because the sport will allow the farmers or the cattle rearers to use all the means and to save those indigenous breeds, the livestock. If the sport is not there, then there is no incentive for them to grow these animals, and already there were at least 15 plus native breeds. Now they have come down to 7 to 8 native breeds only. Extinction of the breeds of the local livestock will be happening is one argument made. But understand, in this current case, Supreme Court has not accepted the argument of organization of animal husbandry, even though that aspect was mentioned, but Supreme Court has not accepted this argument while giving its judgment. Fine. So, but still it is linked, we can say. It was an argument made by the state governments which Supreme Court has not accepted. It just accepted that it is up to the state legislature to decide whether it is a part of your cultural heritage or not. Fine. So, these are all the segments which we can link with our topic. Not only this, article 21, article 14 also can be linked. Do animals have fundamental rights? Supreme Court did not want to say yes to that, because we cannot grant fundamental rights to citizens as well as to the animals, even though we have the supporting provisions here regarding cruelty. But the point is, for example, an argument made by the judges, if you want to remove a bull from the streets, forcibly detain the bull from the streets to make the streets fine, can the bull file habeas corpus case? Because that is a fundamental right. Now, that means it's very difficult for us to assign fundamental rights to animals. That was the argument made by the judges in this case. So, hopefully the entire topic has been covered with respect to the constitution provisions also. Now, what is the next step forward is, the concerned state legislature already, because they have passed the amendments and the Supreme Court allowed it. So, as of now, Jallikattu is going to continue, and other similar races of animals in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Punjab, whatever the states are there, if they pass the concerned amendments, that will be held as valid. So, that concludes our class today. If you have any questions, you can post in the comment below. I will see you again in the next class tomorrow. Thank you.